Hey, it's Skate Date.
Welcome to Skate Date.
Welcome back. We're back. That was creepy and I loved it. So welcome to Skate Date. Skate Date is a podcast about the roller skating world and about the real world. And it was just, like a podcast made by two little roller skaters who fell in love. And we're like, we gotta make something big out of this. So then they decided,
why not a podcast?
I think a podcast sounds nice. So that's where we are. So we're just documenting our life and our thoughts. And we hope that you come along on skate dates with us. I'm Rebel.
And I'm Shove.
And together we are
Shovel. Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
All right.
What's this episode about, babe?
Ooh, we have a couple of things. This time I let you take over, so why don't you talk about it?
Okay, so we're going to talk about the stigma around mental health. We're going to talk a little bit about injuries because, spoiler alert, I sprained my ankle yesterday. And we are going to do some finding your skate date and some Dear Shovel shenanigans.
Sounds like a party.
Speaking of shenanigans, there was someone on my derby team back when derby was a thing before, COVID land. And her name was Shenanigans, and she was the most badass, the most powerful, the most, similar to my thick body type person. And she was a jammer, and she was so awesome. And every time I say the word shenanigans, I just get a little, warm feeling in my heart, oh yeah, shenanigans.
Whenever I hear shenanigans, I think about the time I was volunteering at the bar and her now husband was like, I need another shot. And I was like, why is he trying to get so drunk? And then at halftime, he just walked out onto the track and got on one knee and asked Shenanigans if she would marry him.
That was the first derby engagement that I've ever seen.
Real one, not like Derby Wives.
Yeah, not like Derby Wives. It was wild and so fun and so cute.
Good times. Wherever you are, Shenanigans.
We hope that you're doing well. I know you have lots of dogs and stuff.
Lots of dogs, lots of kids.
Yeah. All right, so should we jump right into our fake ads section, babe?
I think we should.
What's fake ads?
Fake ads is a place that you too, if you're a small business owner, maybe even a big business owner, and you're like, I need some more advertising. And you're like, wow, those chicks on Skate Date, they really got it going on with these ads.
Wow.
Imagine if my product, what could they come up with my product and get me so many cool customers? So if you're like, this sounds like a great idea, you should email
skatedatepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and then we can send you our little price list, and you could see if you would like to take us out on a skate date.
Yeah, because we got a lot of people who listen to this podcast who want to know about the cool stuff that you've got to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump right in with this fake ad.
Let's do it.
Have you seen those videos of people in big blow-up balls running around playing soccer?
Oh yeah, you mean the ones where they fall and just bounce right back up? Those look wild.
Yeah, so get this. This new startup crowdfunded the creation of those blow-up balls, but for roller skaters.
What? So if you fall while skating, you will just bounce right back up?
I mean, I'm pretty accident prone, so it would be useful not falling and hurting myself all the time.
And it would be so fun. Imagine being at the skate park in a literal bubble.
Oh my gosh, you could change your skate name to Galinda the Good Bitch.
Oh my god.
Wicked, am I right?
Sure.
The skate bubble. All you have to provide is your own hot air.
You have plenty of that.
That's why the skate bubble is perfect for me.
And you all too. Skates not included with the skate bubble.
Just for 4 easy payments of $9.99.
What a deal.
Get your skate bubble today. Wow, I loved that. I loved everything about that.
Legitimately, I have always wanted to try one of those bubble things. I've also wanted to do the giant tire thing. Oh no, it's where you roll inside of it.
or the like hamster wheel thing.
Yeah, and then someone made one that had like the bubble but had water, so you have to like jump in, and then like as it's swooshing, you're like, I'm in a water park.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, dangerous and fun.
Dangerous,
just like roller skating.
Yes, and we're all in on that dangerous fun.
All right, I think it's time to jump on over to the real world.
All right. All right, in this week's real world, we are talking all about the stigma that surrounds mental health.
Yes.
This topic is really important to me, and I know that it's really important to a lot of people. And the reason why I chose this topic and I really want to talk about it is because I feel like, especially now, there's so many people either that are becoming more aware that they have mental health issues, or there are more people that are more than ever that are developing mental health issues. And I think it can be really scary, and I think that society having this like weird feeling around mental health issues may prevent people from ever going to the doctor or getting diagnosed. And I just really want to talk about that today because I think that it's time it gets debunked.
I feel like this is something I used to not really want to talk too much about. Like I would talk pretty often about like my high anxieties and things like that, talk a little bit how I felt depressed, but I never really like to be like, I'm 100% depressed, because I had never gone to a therapist, and I felt like it wasn't my place, because I don't think you should self-diagnose yourself. I think you can be very self-aware, and you can know that obviously something's wrong, and there's just so much information now that you can like take online assessments. You can just see things on Instagram and you're like, whoa, even a TikTok, and be like, oh my God, those are all the things that I feel constantly. It sounds really relatable. And I know you're thinking, you're like, yeah, well, if you keep seeing things enough, you're going to like start seeing it everywhere and think that you have OCD or you have this and that. And yeah, that's true. Take it with a grain of salt, but sometimes there can be some real truth to that. And for me, it was a really big deal to finish off 2020 by starting therapy and getting medication.
Yeah. So where do you think the stigma around mental health came from? Like, why do you think that it's like the way it is?
Well, it goes way back to where like people were afraid of it, because it used to be that they had lack of knowledge. So it could be generational, because before, even if you were autistic, they would throw you in the loony bin. They were like, oh, these people, something's not right. The way they think is just a little off from everyone else, so they just throw everyone into an asylum and lock the key and just be like, figure it out, live there till you die. And it was like something to be ashamed of. So I think it was like something you hid, even if you were like, I feel like something's wrong, because you didn't want to be sent off to this hospital and locked away.
Yeah, and the things that they used to do to people that they perceived as crazy were just so inhumane.
Lobotomies and
all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and so I think that like historical narrative of people being crazy and like bad things happening to them, or trying to distance yourself from people who are like not of a sane mind, I feel like that's really tracked and continued with this whole like mental health thing. And I think that now it's becoming like a lot better, but I still think that there's a lot of issues surrounding the way we perceive mental health issues and the way we perceive people who have mental health issues.
Yeah, because I think, like, the whole, especially like in America, there was this whole, like, you have to be a nuclear family. This is the cookie cutter, what a wife should be, husband, and then the children. And it was very, like, women that did have issues were, like, given medicine, air quotations, and it was just, like, alcohol.
Because or then sedatives.
Or sedatives, reversed. So that way it was, like, just be under the influence so you felt like everything was okay. And it was really common to give even children, like, all these pills that were mood stabilizers at a young age just to get them to behave, and no one really talked about feelings. And we're getting so much better. And in the Black community specifically, Black and brown, I'm pretty sure, there's a huge stigma. Like, if you say you want to take therapy, you're very shamed upon it. Like, it's something that you're not supposed to bring your like your dirty laundry to air. Like, you're supposed to just deal with it and move on.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because I do think that there are certain mental health issues that are looked down upon less than others, right? Like, I feel like nowadays when you say you have anxiety, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, like, everyone has anxiety. And I think that, like, with the pandemic and everything that's happened in the last year, I think more people do indeed have anxiety and more mental health issues. And I feel like it's more like accepted, but I think that that's just one small part of it, right? And like when people say, oh, we're accepting people with mental health issues, but then they're just referring to like the like basic anxiety or even like some mental health issues light per se, like the thing that's palatable to the masses. I think that that's, you know, also a problem. You know, like we're not treating people with, you know, schizophrenia or like other different mental issues like equally.
No, yeah, that's true. It's, I feel like you have your socially acceptable mental illnesses, and then the ones that are like, oh no, watch out, they're gonna kill you, or they're gonna snap. Like, there's all these things, and it's just like, or even the language people use, like, I know, like, I'm like, we always say, like, oh yeah, we use the term crazy, and that can be offensive to a lot of people that do suffer. Like, for me personally, it doesn't offend me as long as it's like, you're not just telling me, like, you're gaslighting me, and you're like, you're just being crazy, like. But at the same time, like, when people are like, oh, I'm just so bipolar, or like, oh, it's just my OCD, and it's like, no, but those are like actual things that are affecting people and people are struggling with. So it's not just something to be like, ha ha, like I must be this, because that's like a serious issue for some people. Like, that's an actual diagnosis.
Yeah, I have. So there's a lot of mental illness in my family. Almost every woman in my family has some sort of mental illness. To all the women that I know, especially on my matriarchal side. Is that the correct term?
Yeah.
Matriarchal side?
Yes.
Yeah, and my maternal side, just like my mom had issues. So like all growing up, my mom has very severe depression. And that was something that I grew up with and was aware of like her moods and the different things that went into that, and like a lot of crying and stuff like that around the house, or just, you know, different things that we had to deal with trigger wise. And then like my grandma was mentally ill and had schizophrenia and ended up killing herself, and like my aunt and also like my uncle. So I just have a lot of people that have mental illness in my family. And so I kind of grew up like honestly scared that I was going to, I remember when I was like, this is like not off topic, I guess it's on topic, but like I remember being really scared that I was going to develop schizophrenia when I was in my early 20s, because that's kind of the time when it shows itself.
Yeah.
And I remember like almost seeing things that weren't there, and like thinking I was seeing things because I was so scared that I was gonna start seeing things. Like I remember like driving home and thinking that like shadows in the trees were people, and like thinking like, oh my gosh, did I just think that those shadows were people? Like am I like losing my mind? Am I going crazy? Like, is this it? And it turns out that like my mental illnesses are different than that. But that doesn't mean that any of them are like worse or better. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I was so scared because of like society stigma, even though I grew up with my mom having that experience and like me having that experience with her. Like I was still really scared of it. And to this day, I'm scared of going and getting diagnosed, even though I'm pretty sure of the thing that I have. But like scared of it because I feel like as soon as I find out, I'm going to be like, this changes everything about who I am. But like, that's not true. And that's what we need to talk about, I guess.
For me, I felt validated once they were like, oh yeah, something's wrong with you. Because you do wonder, like, for me, it was like, this can't be how life's supposed to feel. Like, I'm pretty sure I see happy people out there all the time and they're like thriving and things aren't as hard for them, or like mild inconvenience don't like flip their whole day up and then they start like getting angry and irritable and like losing it so easily. I'm like, this is not how life should be. And I think to like talk to someone and be like, have them be like, oh no, like these are the effects of bipolarism, and like my mom was manic depressant but they don't call it anymore, that just means she was bipolar, and she refused to go back for help. After so long of going in therapy, she refused to take medication. And for me, I was like, give me the medication, like give me those mood stabilizers, I want to try them, because if it can even out like the highs and lows, then I'm all for it. And I mean, I'm like a month and a half in, or at least a month in, and it's like I'm starting to feel a little bit different. Like I don't feel like I'm drowning anymore. Like I'm still underwater, but it doesn't get as bad as it used to. So it's like definitely not a cure-all, but it's like you had to do the work. And I'm excited to do like things like trauma work and things like that. And so it's exciting, but I really try to make sure that I do mention little things here and there on like my social media, because I think the more you talk about it, the more it normalizes it. And I get people that will even go in the comments, and some people message me and they'll like share my own posts and then like talk about it, because not everyone's ready to be open about it, and that's totally valid. But I think the more we are like showing up and talking about it, and like people saying like, oh, I'm bipolar, or like I suffer from the ABC, or have you tried this medication? Like if that doesn't work, this is a good one. It just normalizes it. And then other people feel like, oh, I have a place to talk to you about it. Or like if Chef can talk about it, I can talk about it. And it's like we find each other, and people that are mentally healthy, if that's a thing, because I think everyone has some sort of issue.
Show me a mentally healthy person, and I will show you I will have a lot of questions for that person.
Yeah, we're just all trying to survive. But the more they see it, the more like they can normalize it too, and be like, wow, like they're suffering from that? I didn't even know. And that's exactly like a lot of times, like for the most part, mental illness is invisible. Like you don't know unless you're like around someone and really know them. A lot of people can just hide them, and you just don't know.
Yeah, like I know for sure I definitely did not understand what bipolar was, and had in my mind a certain picture of what a bipolar person, how they interact with the world.
Because media.
Yeah, and like what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who is bipolar, or what it's like to be friends with someone who's bipolar. And I had kind of like an interesting moment with that, because you're actually the second person that I've dated that has bipolar. And I'm pretty sure that another one of my very, very close friends that I was friends with for a long time also has some, actually I know that they do. And so I've had this kind of idea ruptured, right? So like this idea that was in the media that I was kind of scared of. Like I was scared, like, does it not make you like, are you still able to talk to people? And do they, and it's just like all of the media is such a lie, like it's such a lie. And then you go and you look up like actually the symptoms of these things, and like actually the way that it causes someone to perceive the world. And you're like, yeah, that is so blown up out of proportion. And like, what a disservice that the media is doing to people with mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like, okay, so I am like 98% sure that I have ADHD, and I like took a few online tests, and like they were all like, yeah, you do, but I haven't actually talked to someone yet, so I'm not going to like for sure like say that I have it. But when I was researching all of those things, like in my head and the way I was talked to growing up, like my parents always said, like, oh, your brother and your sister, like they have ADHD, like you don't have ADHD, like you're the one that like is normal. Which is normal. Hilarious, because like what is normal? And also like in comparison to all the people in my family, I don't think any of us are normal, but yeah, just a funny comment. But so I always imagined that ADHD was what they were like, and I'm not like them. Like I am like probably the opposite to them. And to not understand that ADHD isn't just like someone being psycho and like running around and just being like, you know, I can't finish anything ever. Like that's like what's portrayed in the media, and it's so different than that. And yeah, so I agree with what you were saying about how like talking about it even just a little bit, like dropping those Easter eggs and just kind of Easter eggs talking about mental illness like Easter eggs, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know, just like talking about it online I think is really important.
No, it is. It's just all about normalizing it. It's just hard because even when you do want help, like it's hard to find that pathway. Like I know like Long Beach has like a center or like a big building somewhere like downtown, and it's supposed to be for people with mental issues to go. And I know like the waiting list for there can be really long. I remember having to go to urgent care one time for I don't think it was sprained, but something was wrong with my wrist, and there was a guy in the bed next to me, and he was feeling suicidal, and he was like, I just don't want to live anymore, all this stuff. And like the doctor was just kind of like, well, we can give you a prescription of, I think they wanted to give him like Valium or something. I don't know. They were like, we could just give you one of these, like, but the mental illness Long Beach clinic isn't going to be open till Monday, so like you'll have to last to the weekend.
Okay.
And he's all like, but I need help today. Like I'm afraid if I go home, I'm going to end my life. And like, the doctor was just like, well, you should take this medication. Like, you just got to hold in there. And I was like, what? Like, what? Like, this is our system?
That
like,
cannot be how we're, like, helping people.
Yeah, and I think it's like an invisible broken bone. Like, we still need healthcare for this. Like, why doesn't a lot of healthcare that's affordable cover things like this? Like, when I worked at Coffee Bean, I remember they were like, well, you can go, but it'll cover 3 visits. When am I going to get solved in 3 therapy sessions?
My health insurance does not cover it at all. Like, zero. And even, like, so I work for a school, so I thought, like, oh, maybe I could get, like, help for it there. But they only offer, like, I think 6 sessions total your entire tenure as a teacher there. And then they also, like, you're in line behind so many people, and there aren't enough counselors. Like, I happen to know firsthand that there are literally not enough therapists in schools, like specifically colleges. There are not enough therapists there. Like, there are not enough psychologists. There are not enough people that can help. There are lines and lines of students waiting to get any sort of mental health support, and there is not the support available to them. Which is just, like, mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, or it's just, like, I have new insurance, and I need to look to see if they'll, like, pay for, like, kind of, like, give me a payout. Like, they'll take care of what I'm paying out of pocket for. I'm using an app /online. It's called Get Cerebral. This is not an ad. I am not sponsored. I wish I was, and I wish I had a discount code for it, because though it's cheaper than if I was just like going to a therapist up the street, it's bearable.
It's still expensive.
I get medication, and like, honestly, I think if it wasn't for like my Patreons and like people buying stickers and prints whenever they could, I would not be able to do it at all. But I think when it comes to the end of the day, like if I can cut out things that are fun and frivolous for myself to have mental health, it's worth it. But it just
I totally
sucks.
Agree.
Yeah, it just sucks that it's so expensive. Like I'm roughly paying $400, almost $400 out of pocket. And I know like
per month.
Yeah, and I know I won't be able to keep doing this, but hopefully, I can get as far as I can with it.
No, you're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. So it just sucks when you have to make that choice. It's like, you're already anxious and you're depressed, and then you're like, oh great, now I'm anxious and depressed about and worried about like all the money I have to give up just to try to get better. And it's just like, something's got to give. Like,
yeah, it's so bad. I hate it. Oh, yeah. So what do we think that, like, what needs to change? Like, do they need to provide free healthcare, like mental healthcare?
Yes, when they say
everyone?
we should have free healthcare, it's like that should also include mental healthcare.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Like when businesses are like, oh, we have medical, like we have dental and vision, like mental health care should also be a part of that.
Honestly, yeah. I haven't, yeah. Yeah. Dental, dental, vision, and mental. It even rhymes.
Dental and mental.
Dental and mental and whole body. Okay, so then what do you think are good things that we can encourage people to do that are like on the individual level? You know, what could, if someone's listening to this podcast and they're like, yeah, that is a problem, like what could we tell them to do that might help change, like make a little bit of a change?
If you know someone that's suffering from a mental illness, don't be afraid. Maybe even like tell them like, hey, like I know like you have this like I don't know, like don't be afraid to ask questions, especially if there's someone outspoken about it. Like just be like, hey, I want to know more, like how to be a better ally, or like how, like I don't know, there's like certain things you can ask. I don't even know where I'm trying to go with this, but
Yeah, I think that I think that you should be open to other people expressing, you know, their struggles with mental health, and when they do express those, you should be non-judgmental about it and do your best to disconnect the things that the world has told you about mental health with the person that you're talking to, and instead ask them questions about their experience if they're opening up to you, because I think that when you understand someone else's experience, and like if it's someone that you are in relationship with, whether that is like friendship or romantic or familial or even like a coworker, each person is going to struggle with mental health in a different way. And even like if both me and Chev were depressed, we're both going to struggle with depression in different ways. Like there's going to be different times where I'm going to need help and I'm going to show different signs than Chev would show. And so it's about communicating with your loved ones. And if you're a person who does not have mental issues, maybe communicate that you're open to helping or learning about their triggers or learning about how they need support. And if you are a person that has mental health issues, diagnosed or undiagnosed, one, if they're undiagnosed, like yours truly, try and get to a therapist, try and get to a psychologist, try and get yourself diagnosed, because I really do think that it brings peace of mind.
And I would like to just say, like, it's not always going to be easy. And I think people become friends with people that do suffer from mental illnesses. And as soon as it gets hard, like, they will block, unfollow, and go away because they don't want to deal with it. I think people just really need to keep in mind that people suffer with these. And yeah, it's not like Hollywood depicts, but some of that does root from some truth. So you might have someone that gets paranoid and starts thinking you did something that you didn't really do, that gets irritable for no reason, takes it out on you, makes a scene, does something to embarrass you. And if you know for sure, like, that person's told you, like, hey, I suffer with ABC, don't hold that against them. I'm not saying you should put up with everything if it comes like an abusive situation, but you have to allow yourself to feel uncomfortable. It's not all going to be fun and sunshine and like fun skate dates with each other and good times. Like, there's gonna be downs too, and you know, that's like the whole thing. Like, if you're not there for their Britney, you can't be there for their Beyonce.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do think that the way we've kind of painted mental illness has been all like, yay, we can do it. It's positive, but it's not always positive. You know, there are days when I literally feel like completely empty nothingness and nothing happened. Like, I just feel like a deflated balloon, you know, and there are, you know, days that I can't figure out what I'm doing and I'm so scatterbrained, and like, that's all part of things that I deal with, and that's not fun to deal with. But it's about, like, I don't know, communicating what you need in that moment. And also, I think having boundaries if you're in relationship with people with mental illness, and also respecting those boundaries if you are the person who has mental illness struggles.
Yeah, basically communication's key. So just remember that, like, don't be afraid. when someone's not going to be like, hi, I'm Shove and I suffer from
Yeah,
from
right.
being bipolar and from having a complex trauma. How are you? Like, you're not going to know that right away. It's going to take some time. Some people are overshares. That's a part of our illness. But not everyone's going to open up on the first day. And you might just start noticing little things, whether it's a coworker, a friend, someone you're dating. And once they open up, like, have that conversation. That's why you say, like, oh, well, what are your triggers? What makes you feel this way? If you don't have that communication, it's going to be a downward spiral.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the more we talk about it, the more we're open to it, the more we do have that forgiveness and love in our hearts, that we can move forward and not have such a stigma in mental health.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that is the way to move forward. Any last thoughts about the stigma of mental health?
No, I think I said everything.
I think that I just want to leave it on, there is no perfectly healthy, ideal brain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we may think that, like, someone is normal, but it may just be our perception. You never know what's going on in someone's head. You're never going to be able to know completely what's going on in someone's head, even if they tell you most of the things that are going on. And so it's important to not just be open, but also to respect others.
Yeah, and Rebel didn't mean normal. She just meant, like, not having...
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean... Yeah, I mean, like, there's no such thing as, like, zero... I don't know.
Like, not everyone's healthy. It would be like, you might think someone is completely healthy, but there are some invisible demons they're battling.
Yeah. I feel like there should be a whole, like, we should make a whole thing just about, like, the idea of normalcy. And even how, like, it's just, like, literally plagued our vocabulary, too.
I would say the word normal. We don't even have... I think now we're so proud to have our freak flags fly that it's like, who's normal? What's normal anymore? I don't even know what, like, the base for normal is. And that might just because we're out here in LA County, like, where everyone's just like, let me walk around in a costume and no one bats an eye.
I feel like we're normal.
Yeah, and other people
like,
think,
what's
like,
normal?
wow, like,
yeah.
Why do you wear wigs and crazy colors, like, on a Wednesday afternoon? Like,
maybe everyone has their own normal.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on over to the wheel world.
Oh my god, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about this brand that we've mentioned on here before, Blood and Thunder.
Ooh, Blood and Thunder.
I was, like, thinking about how I was going to wear it tonight and I couldn't find it, but I have a hoodie, a cute cropped hoodie, and a cropped t-shirt that says Social Distancing Skate Club on it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, who doesn't love a good cropped hoodie? Or cropped shirt, just in general. But second, how fitting. I feel like there's this whole, like, masking, like, thing that's going on, like, put on your skate and put on your mask, put on your skate and mask, put on your mask and skate. But also, there's also this whole, like, social distancing aspect to it. And, like, what a great shirt to be wearing.
Yeah, and I love it so much. I don't know, they're like, all their clothing is really punny, you know? There's a lot of puns on it.
True.
There's a lot of skate art on it, and, you know, as a skate artist myself, I really appreciate it, and I just think they're a super great operation. And I don't know about y'all, but I know, like, in the future when, like, this is nothing but a bitter memory, the whole pandemic and social distancing, I just want to be able to have something physical that's like, yeah, Social Distancing Skate Club, I was a part of that. Like, I'm still gonna rock it, like, 10 years from now. And I think that's super cool to remind people, like, that was something that happened. And that's something that the skate community still thrived through and survived.
Dang, now I want one.
Exactly. So if you want to get a social distancing crop top, or even I think they have full-size ones too, hoodies and shirts, then I would definitely head to bloodandthundermag.com.
Yeah, get yourself a little token of surviving this wild year and a half-ish. So crazy. I love it. But yeah, Blood and Thunder coming in clutch with a with the skate pun pandemic wear.
The pandemic.
The pandemic.
And we'll link the shop in the show notes below.
Yeah.
So, babe, how's that ankle feeling?
It hurts so bad underneath the table right now.
Tell the people what happened.
Okay, so yesterday I was skating and everything was fine. And I was using my new light up wheels on the ramp. And I was so excited.
The 101s.
I was making an Instagram reel. And I was just like spinning in the middle of the ramp. And then I was like shuffling my feet back and forth to make the wheels light up.
Wait. Also, this was right after she did like a legit actual like sesh on the ramp. Like was like, let me stall and drop in and kick and all this fancy stuff. Finished that just fine. Okay, continue.
Yeah, for like 30 minutes. And then, yeah, I was just doing like stupid stuff to get a recording of it, really, is what it was for. It wasn't even for anything.
Do it for the gram.
Yeah, did it for the gram. Bitches love the gram. Yeah, and I was like putting my toe stop down to stop, really, but then I think the toe stop slipped. And then I flew upward, and then my left leg, it bent out, but it didn't like bent inward, but it bent outward, and then I fell on top of it.
Her booty landed on the back wheel, which made it go outward, and the way your
foot is not supposed to go. Yeah, so it hurt like hell, and I was in extreme pain, and Shove had to end up like, literally she got me a stick.
A giant bamboo stick.
and her shoulder, and I had to hop into the house. But the issue was I had just finished that long sesh, and so my good leg was shaky. Like I couldn't just like hop on that right leg. So it was the biggest struggle just to get inside.
Oh my gosh, the stairs to have to get upstairs.
The biggest struggle. And then I was on the couch and I was in a lot of pain, and then
she cried so much. Like, she cried so much. She had literal mascara tears. Like, so dramatic.
Yeah.
And, like, I was like, this is broken. I was like, you literally cannot get up right now. I'm pulling the car through the back gate and we're going to the hospital. Like, I don't care. Because she has such a high pain tolerance. And she was just like, ah, and, like, literally was like, I'm gonna black out. I'm gonna throw out. Like, it was so dramatic.
Okay, so there's something. Okay, so... Something you need to know about me is that whenever I get any sort of extreme pain, especially when it comes to impact, I pass out. So, like, I knew, like, oh, I'm starting to get that woozy feeling, like, I'm about to pass out. I need to start, like, you know, clutching my fist to try and get blood pumping, like, talk to not pass out. And so I was trying to get myself to stop from passing out. And at this point, I wasn't crying. Like, I was just, like, in pain, and it was like shooting pain, like it sucked so bad, but I didn't hear any sort of a pop or a crack or anything like that, and it didn't feel like a break to me. It just felt like excruciating. And then Shove was just like, babe, just cry, like just cry, you'll feel better if you cry. And as soon as I started crying, I couldn't stop crying. And I was wearing blue eyeshadow, and the blue eyeshadow was like hoe eyeshadow. It was dope, but like it was blue. And so the blue was just all down my face. I was majorly crying in roller skate. And then I slept. And then I woke up from pain, and then I slept some more.
It was so crazy because one of my followers had like messaged me a couple hours before that and was just like, my friend recently fell on her roller skates and broke her ankle, and I'm much larger than her, and all I keep hearing is that saying in my head that says the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And I didn't want to message a skinny skater. I needed to message a big skater, and I don't know like what to do. Like, are there butt pads? Like, I'm just so terrified. And I was literally messaged back saying, well, I'm sorry about your friend, but to be honest, like, if you're afraid of falling, roller skating's not for you. And that sounds rude. It does. But the only guarantee in skating
is that you're gonna
fall. You might never be a good skater. It's not like you might never be a good skater. You might never be a bad skater. Like, it doesn't matter how good or bad you are. You're gonna fall. You might not break something, but you're gonna have at least one injury in your skating career. There's not one single person that hasn't hurt themselves badly while roller skating.
Yeah, like I went on live on YouTube and Instagram, which was very draining because everything is hard for me the last 24 hours.
She's baby.
I am baby. I literally couldn't move my car and had to have my friend come over to move my car because it's stick and she doesn't know how to drive stick.
Yeah.
So I went on live both on YouTube and Instagram, and I was just saying like, yo, like, this is literally part of being a roller skater. Mm-hmm. Like, if this helps, if you seeing me sprain my ankle helps you to know that even better roller skaters, like, fall and get hurt, then so be it. You know, if this is going to help you somehow, great, let's go through this together. But also, like, I was saying, like, yeah, I'm disappointed, and yeah, I'm sad, and yeah, I'm frustrated, but am I surprised? No. Like, I've been doing crazy roller skating stuff. Like, I'm gonna get hurt eventually.
Yeah, and it's not even your first time. Like, you've sprained your wrist before.
Yeah, I've sprained my wrist. I've gotten a concussion.
Yeah, you broke your tailbone.
Yeah, I broke my tailbone. Like, just straight out, I broke my tailbone. I always forget about that one. I broke my tailbone, I sprained my wrist, I've gotten a concussion, and I've had a really bad knee fall. Oh, yeah. Like, a really bad knee fall in Derby. And so I've had things happen. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I don't know.
I've had 2 really bad falls where I scraped up the same parts of my leg exactly 1 week apart from each other. And the second time turned to staph to where my whole leg swelled up. I think I've talked to y'all about it before. And it sucked. Could barely walk. While the last time I was actively dropping in, I was super excited because I was like, I can drop in now. And still haven't. Because now I'm like, but I got so much speed and I got a little too cocky and I tried to do a tight carve while I dropped in, got speed, went to carve at the end, fell from the sky onto my knee till it popped. And that was so bad. I was like how Rebel is right now. Like, I just couldn't walk on it and it sucked. And then the next bad injury wasn't in skates. I was just like in socks on a slippery porch. And I was like, I wish I could say this was from skating, but no, I just was walking downstairs, not trying to do any kind of jumping on skates over stairs.
Yeah, but those stairs were like the devil stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've had our fair share of injuries, and, you know, any skater you talk to who's been in the game for any amount of time is going to be like, yeah, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. Who do you think walks better, me today or you when you were at the height of your staff?
Me. No, I think, like, I was walking better.
I think so, too. I've been walking, like, it's funny. I'm so bad at walking today. I'm like, I don't remember how to walk.
You're walking the way I walked with my knee, and, like, with my ankle, it was bad a little bit, but my knee was, like, the worst. Like, at work, everyone was like, why are you even here? Like, everyone was pitying me, because, like, I was struggling so hard to walk, and that lasted for months. So I feel like I've had injuries that just were super lengthy, and, like, to this day, like, my skating has not been the same since that first fall because I just couldn't really do anything for months on months on months, and then I just had to, like, start all over again.
Yeah, so I think that one little piece of advice I would give is, 1, do prehab, which means, like, strengthen up your muscles ahead of time. You know, like, work those ankles, like, work those different muscles, your shoulders, like, the different things that you have in your body that are precious. Like, do that, you know, yoga, do those stretches, do those things that are going to help build up those muscles that aren't necessarily from skating. And then if you do get injured, make sure you are doing the rehabilitation, like the therapy, the PT, like, all those things.
I'm quiet because I didn't do any of that, but do as we say, not as we do.
I'm planning on doing major PT following this. I already have bookmarked many ankle rehabilitation videos on YouTube, because there's a surprising amount of physical therapists on YouTube providing like what you should do based on how your body is feeling from certain injuries. And I'm like, this is amazing. What a great resource that I didn't realize was there. Also, it made me feel a lot better because I was watching these two therapists, like physical therapists, like talk about like sprained ankles. And then I was reading through the comments, because that's where you live when you're on YouTube, you know, the comment section. And just everyone was like, you're going to be okay. Are you here because you broke your ankle or sprained your ankle? I was, and I did this, and it worked really well, and like, if you're here, like, it's gonna be fine. And I was like, wow, I feel oddly supported right now.
Wow, the sprained ankle community.
I didn't know, but we come from all walks of life. We just tripped a little.
So how was it missing your first day of Moxie Skate Daily due to your injury?
It sucked. It sucked really bad. And honestly, like, I really wanted to just skate around on one foot.
Yesterday, she was all like, don't worry, I'll still skate with one skate on. And I was like, you can't even walk right now. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, and honestly, to be completely honest, I was in such excruciating pain that I didn't really... That was the farthest thing from my mind, was Moxie Skate Daily. But now, like, especially today, I'm, like, a little disappointed. But I think that it is for the best, and I'm really running through my head again and again and again as much as I can. Like, your skating career is long, and you are just at the beginning of it. And, you know, if it takes a month or a month and a half and you can't skate, which I don't think it's going to be that long. Oh, God, what? But, like, I don't think it's going to be that long, but, you know, it could potentially be. And if it takes that long to be able to have a strong ankle and come back and be able to really, you know, pursue skating to the level that I want to when I come back, like, that's worth it for me. But it does suck, because I do like doing things hardcore, especially skate challenges. And I feel a little left out now that I'm not doing it. But, like, I think that there's so much grace in the midst of, like, trying to do a skate challenge and, like, being injured, you know?
I just feel like that's the huge difference between me and you, because, like, when we first made our skate Instagrams and we're like, yeah, Moxie Skate Daily, and I was like, let's do this, like, let's skate every day for a year, and you're like, hell yeah. And, like, you took it so serious. Like, you were not feeling good. Like, you got sick sometimes. You had injuries. And, like, you just kept going. And, like, I remember I did that in the beginning where I, like, had my little ace bandage. And I'm like, I'm still gonna skate. But then I started realizing, like, why? Like, I can skip 3 days because I don't feel good. And then just go back. And then I'll still say that that's the next number. Like, yeah, I won't finish at the same time, but I'm fine with that. Because at the end of the day, no one cares. Like, I shouldn't be doing this for a prize. I should be doing this because I want to see my skills grow. Because I want to just push myself to skate more. And I felt like you were more focused on, like, being able to be like, I skated every day for 3, 6, 5.
Yeah, I mean, that was my goal originally.
Yeah, but, like, if your body's suffering, you shouldn't be pushing yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's why my approach this time is a lot different than my approach last time. I think my approach last time was I wanted to know that I could do it, and I'm very much an all or nothing person, so I'm trying to fight that all or nothing compulsion and, like, be more forgiving and, you know, open with myself and just be willing to, you know, like, not be an all or nothing person about these challenges. Because I do, like, have many skate goals that I've set for myself for this year, and I do believe that I can still achieve them, but they are not contingent on me skating every day. But I think having a mindset of focusing on something skate related every day is still something that I'm going to do, you know, whether that be, and it's, for me, my perspective of Moxie Skate Daily in my life is that I'm going to focus on something that is skate related that's not for my YouTube. Because for me, sometimes YouTube can turn a little bit into, like, a job kind of a thing instead of, like, a fun and joy and, like, skill building kind of a thing that I love about this, just me and skating.
Your YouTube is definitely a job for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a job for you. It's also definitely a job for me, a joyful job, and one that I enjoy very much, but it is different than just like having skate goals. So for me, I'm just going to kind of move forward with Moxie Skate Daily, but do it in a way that is me pursuing like ways to build myself in my skating, whether that be watching videos or, you know, messing with some of my skate setups or learning about different things. Like I know that a lot of people ask me for videos about things that I don't know. Maybe, oh wait, that's YouTube related. but like actually learning, like I want to know about cushions. I want to know about these different things, not just for YouTube, but for my own knowledge. And so I'm going to use that time that I would have been skating and kind of focus on that.
Any final thoughts on skate injuries and challenges?
No, sorry. I know I talked a lot on that. I just had a lot to say. Yeah, my final thoughts are to listen to your body and to seek medical attention if you need it, and to just be smart, and to, you know that if you are injured or you get injured, like that's just part of it. It's not, you're not like a bad skater. You're not like doomed. Like, it's part of the journey. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like, it's going to happen and it sucks. And then, like, especially if you, like, break something and you're out for months and you feel like you're separated from community, but you're not. We're still here. We'll stick together. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Babe, I hope your ankle heals very fast. I hope it doesn't last as long as mine did.
I also hope that it heals fast. I'm already looking into an acupuncturist.
Oh my gosh, you would be.
You know what? I've heard too many positive things about it, and I just feel like I trust that. Anyways, should we move on to our next segment?
Yes, we should.
It's Find Your Skate Date time.
Woo! Find your skate date, whether it's romantic or platonic. Let's get someone to roll with you.
So, Find Your Skate Date is a new segment that has just started this season, and we're like obsessed with it. So, what we're doing is we're helping to connect skaters to other skaters, aka finding other people a skate date. So, what you do is if you are looking for someone, if you're like romantically looking for someone, or if you are just looking for like a skate friend in your area, I would love it, and so would Shove, if you would email us at dearskatedate@gmail.com, and you can include a bio, maybe you include a little picture of yourself, and we will talk about you on the podcast. And don't forget your Instagram so that people can message you, and hopefully you will find your skate date. So who do we have today, Chef?
I also wanted to add, feel free to send us a photo as well. I know I mentioned this the first time. If you send us a photo, we can also post you on our Instagram.
Yeah, that's our goal. Our goal is to make our Instagram also a Find Your Skate Date Instagram, which is so cute. It's like Tinder for the skate community, but like also for friends. But
it's
like
more
better.
like OkCupid, not Tinder. Tinder is like, I'm just trying to hook up with people that skate.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's been so long since I've been on a skate date app. Oh, I mean on a date app.
Whoa.
A dating app. Wow. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
We'll edit that out. All right. We have one. It's titled Turtle Seeking Rabbit. Hi, Shovel. Thank you for creating a space where skaters feel safe. I know I can open up and be vulnerable with everything from social issues to my skate journey. I see and appreciate the community building so much. So, on to why I'm reaching out. I've been skating since the end of August, and I haven't made much progress with my skating skills. I'm cool with enjoying the learning process, and I am, but I think there's more to it than that. I used to skate in the house a bunch, and I've been pushing myself to go out and skate more, but I must admit I get kind of scared to push my limits as much as I want to. I'm all out of breath. Whew. I'd love to meet another skater here in Brooklyn who is more intermediate or advanced. I think if I had a more advanced skating buddy who loves to share their knowledge and is cool skating with a turtle, I could grow so much. I am an enthusiastic skater, a great listener, and an all-around pal. Aww. And that's what I have to offer in return. So
oh my
cute.
God.
I'll also be really impressed by all the sweet tricks this future skate date can do. And I'm an excellent hype woman. Oh, and I, capital letters, will bring snacks.
Oh.
Can you find my platonic crush? Rabbit emoji. Jasmine, turtle emoji. And their Instagram handle is at @thisonesformyskaters.
Oh my gosh. I want to be Jasmine's skate date, but I can't because I don't live in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, so if you're in Brooklyn, New York,
or somewhere near Brooklyn.
Yeah, and I totally get that. Like, I talk about turtle skating all the time. And it's fine, girl. Like, don't worry about it. Like, sometimes we move slow and it's okay. And you do grow when you have someone more advanced.
So true.
You grow even more. This sounds crazy. But, like, I learned so much when I was teaching people that knew less than me. Because, one, you're like, wow, I know so much. And, like, cool. It's so empowering, like, teaching someone. But, like, it works both ways. But yeah, when you're with someone more advanced, they challenge you, they teach you. It's so much fun. I know that's something that like me and Rebel miss about having people come over, is that like you feed off their energy. So I really hope that we can find you someone, Jasmine. Again, their Instagram is at @thisonesformyskaters. And
so we'll reach out to Jasmine.
Yeah, and we'll put it in the show notes. And yeah, we really hope that this little turtle finds her rabbit.
That's so cute. I'm obsessed with that. And also, I think I can't wait for you, Jasmine, to experience the world of skating outside of COVID, because I really think that you're going to find that a lot of what you're looking for is definitely out there at skate meetups and rollouts and all those things. But until then, we need to get Jasmine a skate date. So hit her up, and if you need a skate date, hit us up. And we'll hit everyone else up. We'll be the conduit of skate dates across the skate community.
Yeah, so if you would like that, then email dearskatedate@gmail.com. That sounded like another fake ad.
We did it.
But it's real.
It's a real ad.
It's free.
Find your skate date. All right, so let's move on to our next segment, Dear Shovel. Dear Shovel, this is the segment where you send us your questions and then we answer them. Gosh, I love these end of the podcast segments. These segments are my fave, the ones that are just like, what do you guys want to talk about? Because we'll talk about it. So fun. It's so random and I love it. So yeah, who do we have a Dear Shovel question from today? Oh, should we tell everyone how to send in a Dear Shovel question? If you have okay, so you know how Dear Abby was a thing a long time ago? So we're the new and improved Abby. We are Shovel, right? Can you dig it? So if you have a question about literally anything, you're like, how do I use, this paintbrush properly? We might not know, but we will totally answer your question. So any question that you have, we will answer it. And so you can send us your question. You can send it with a signed and a fun little acronym, or you can just be anonymous, and you do it by emailing, again, dearskatedate@gmail.com. Okay. Dear Shovel, I have questions for both of you. Rebel, do you struggle with your coda identity? And Shove, how do you feel about dating someone with deaf parents? Love, Anonymous.
first, I think you should explain what CODA is.
Yes, I was reading that and I was like, I know what CODA is, but I don't know if anyone else does. So a CODA is CODA, and it stands for Child of Deaf Adult. And CODA is like a whole segment of people. It's a little community. Usually it's hearing children of deaf adults, and it's like we grew up in this deaf culture and community, but we also are like hearing, so it's this like different experience. But there's definite markers to being a CODA, and there's a different like life experience that goes along with it. Being a CODA is really important to me. I think that the deaf community really shaped a lot of who I am growing up within it. And it was like I sign, I have a deep connection with deaf culture. And I think that the one thing that I struggle with now with my identity as a CODA is I don't know any other ones right now. And I think that that's the biggest issue that I have within that, because it's so, when you are talking to another CODA, it's like they understand your experience at this like fundamental level, like that you don't, like the other people just kind of don't get. And I wish that I had CODAs in my life that were close to me. That's like the one thing that I'm always sad about with Shove, is that she doesn't sign. And sometimes I feel like my sign language is going downhill, and I miss like talking to people in sign. And even every once in a while I'll like start signing to her, and then she's like, I don't know what you're saying. And I'm like, oh, right. But yeah, so I don't know. I think I love being a CODA, and I'm very proud of it. And, you know, I think one thing though that I will say is that like I'm a speech and debate coach, and so I judge people's speeches, and a lot of times people do speeches about like issues in the world. And like this past weekend, when one of the students that I was judging gave a speech about deaf culture and like about the importance of sign language and like learning sign language. And I hate listening to speeches like that. Like I was sitting there staring at her, like giving the most neutral face I possibly could muster up, because it was this hearing girl being like, yeah, wow, we invented sign language is so great and like amazing that we did this. And it's like, wait, what? Like nobody's giving a speech being like, we invented Chinese. Wow, it's so amazing that this like exists. And then she called it sign culture instead of deaf culture. And I was like, way to invent a new culture that I feel like completely ignores the fact that it's the deaf culture and community. And so I do feel like annoyed by people's ignorance about it. And like I do feel sometimes that sign language is a little bit fetishized. But you know, those are just random hot takes that I have.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Shove, how do you feel about dating someone with deaf parents? Well, it's just one of Rebel's parents, and it happens to be her mother. And for me, I think I have no issues with that. And it's like, for me, it's hard because I think if I knew that they weren't homophobic, I'd have a bigger push to want to learn ASL. Like, but not even that. I think like even recently, the last holiday, I think her mom really opened up to me. So I'm still processing that, and thoughts could change. Like, it's reiterated my, like, maybe possibly I will learn ASL to have better communication with her mom, so that way Rebel doesn't have to translate all the time. But at the same time, like, I know, like, if her dad was the one that was deaf, I probably would have already started, because me and her dad clicked right away. And I think, like, when we the first time I know for a fact when I first met her mom, I knew, like, okay, she can't hear. I gotta make sure I face her when I'm speaking, because, like, even though she's not familiar with me, she might possibly be able to read my lips. But I would start talking as my mom was looking at me, and she would purposely just turn while I was talking, and I was like, that's literally me. I was like, that's literally like if I was just like putting my headphones in while you're talking. That's how like, I was like, wow, so she's okay.
My mom was very, very reluctant to accept that I'm gay.
Yeah, so I think like for me, I have my other issues that are like keeping me from being like, oh, I should really like learn this language so I could better communicate. And I'm not going to say never. Like, I know eventually I probably will start. It's definitely something I've always wanted to learn. But I just haven't had, like, the push, you know?
For me, I want you to learn sign language because I'm worried that someday I'm going to end up deaf. And I want you to be able to communicate with me. Yeah, I've always wanted, like... And also, I think that there's definitely, like, a positive thing to be said about being able to communicate with someone from across the room.
You just want to be able to talk about people in the same room
100%.
When I'm standing across the room, so you could just like sign.
100% I want that.
Because you literally said that before.
Yes, I do want that. More than anything. That is my primary reason, is that I want to be able to communicate with you. Or if you're like over by the drink station, imagining that the world is open up and we're at a party, right? And there's a drink station. I want to be like, babe, can I get some soda? And like not have to like yell at you.
It's funny because like when we first started dating, there was a lot of times when we're like, I'd be far away and I'd be like, what? She'd be yelling at me. I'm like, I can't hear you. And then she would straight up start signing whole sentences. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know what that means either. Because at first I thought she was trying to just like do hand motions and be like, oh, she'll get the gist of it. And I was like, and I could tell, I'm like, wait, she's legitimately doing ASL right now. And she knows. And she'd be like, oh, I forget because like, I have 3 other friends that know signs, so I just think everyone knows it. And I'm like, no.
No, I just had significant people in my life leading up to being in a relationship with her that did know sign. And so it's just like, I just thought, oh, you know, I'm just going to end up with people who know sign.
Yeah, and I grew up in, like, I just grew up in, like, poor schools and, like, middle schools and high schools in Compton. And, like, they didn't offer anything like ASL, and there was like never any kind of push. And I remember like I had a bookmark and it had all the alphabet, and I remember being like, at least I know the alphabet, and like I still know most of that, but it's really hard to like remember words. But I feel like sometimes like if I repeat them, like, oh, I can kind of pick it up.
Yeah. So that's our answers for you. A little background insight into our lives. Okay. Wow. What an episode.
We're not done yet.
Wait, we need to thank some people.
We got a 5-star review.
Wow, you think we're cool. You like us. Star. You think we're stars.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. The Papsican.
Papsican. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Pap smear.
Papsican.
Yeah, thank you, Papsican, for the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. You can give us a rating.
Yeah, if you give us a 5-star rating, we'll be super stoked, and we will shout you out on this podcast. And so if you want to be praised and be awesome like Papsican, give us that comment and feedback. Also, Papsican, if you like don't really think about it, whoa. Papsican, if you don't really think about it, it kind of sounds like Pepsi can.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, like, I don't care. I, like, listen to you on Spotify or iHeartRadio or just on the YouTube. Well, even if you're like, I listen somewhere else, why is it important? Do you know, babe?
Yeah, it's because we're trying to rank in the Apple podcast listings.
Yeah, the more you rate us and comment your review, the more Apple will be like, maybe they're on to something, and maybe we should boost a signal that people should check out this podcast. And in doing so, maybe we're not just a shoddy operation in our garage working late and being like, why are we doing this? We're getting nothing in return. Yes, we love you all, but this is definitely also kind of work for us. And we do it not even for free. We're actually...
We're a little bit in the hole on this one.
But we just love to entertain y'all, and we love being here, and we love being, like, giving y'all the inside of, you know, things we believe in, like the real us.
The real. Yeah. So if you like us, then show us a little love on the Apple Podcast.
And if you really, 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 really like us and you're like, dang, I want to skate date them so hard, guess what Rebel made?
We have a skate date Etsy! Oh my gosh! It is on the internet. It is on Etsy.
It is a store with no product.
A store, and it has a skate date sticker on it. But very, 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 very soon, we are going to have another exciting drop of a product. Yay.
Definitely. So be on the lookout, because pretty soon we will show you.
And we will drop the link to the Etsy in the description. If you just like that store, that would be cool. Like if you just favorite the store to show us that we're legit.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us on another skate date.
I had a lot of fun. I really liked the skate date. It put me in good spirits after spraining my ankle yesterday. So thank you.
Laughter is the best medicine, right?
I could not agree more. So looking forward to seeing you / hearing from you. And I can't wait for our next skate date next Wednesday.